This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
In the headlines, a global first from Australia. The country's sweeping social media ban for children under 16 is now in effect, making Australia the first nation in the world to bar minors from major platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube in a bid to protect them from harmful content and algorithms. In Central America, Honduran President Xiomara Castro accuses U.S. President Donald Trump of interfering in Honduras' upcoming elections, claiming voters are being intimidated and that Washington is undermining the country's sovereignty. From The Hague, the International Criminal Court has sentenced former Janjaweed commander Ali Muhammad Ali Abd al-Rahman to 20 years in prison for war crimes and crimes against humanity in Darfur, with judges detailing brutal and atrocities committed between 2003 and 2004. Back here in the Philippines, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. formally lists the Anti-Dynasty Bill and the Partylist System Reform Act as administration priorities, pushing Congress to take up both measures in the current legislative cycle. In Indonesia, at least 22 people are dead after a suspected drone battery explosion ignited a massive blaze inside a 7-story office building in Jakarta. And the 33rd Southeast Asian Games open in Thailand under tight security following fresh border clashes as athletes compete under heightened safety measures across key venues. I'm Prince Tripoli. Newsline World starts now. Judges at the International Criminal Court have convicted former Janjaweed militia commander Ali Muhammad al-Rahman for war crimes and crimes against humanity committed in Darfur between 2003 and 2004, handing him a 20-year prison sentence. Paul Montibon reports.
The ICC chamber ruled that Abd al-Rahman commanded Janjaweed forces that systematically targeted villages in Darfur during the height of the conflict. The attacks were directed mainly at 4 tribes suspected of backing anti-government rebels. Judges said the crimes included murder, attempted murder, torture, rape, pillaging, forcible transfer, persecution, and outrages upon personal dignity. Judge Corner stressed that Abd al-Rahman exercised de facto control over Janjaweed fighters and at the times over regular Sudanese forces. She said he received direct orders from then Minister Ahmad Harun and described him as an enthusiastic, energetic, and effective perpetrator. Judges ruled unanimously to impose a 20-year sentence, noting they would have gone higher if not for mitigating factors. They acknowledged his voluntary surrender in 2020 and his conduct while in detention. The time he has already spent in ICC custody will be deducted from his term.
The Chamber sentences you to a joint sentence of 20 years. The Chamber would have pronounced a higher sentence had it not been for the mitigating circumstances discussed above. That sentence is passed unanimously.
Abd al-Rahman was indicted in 2025 on 27 counts of war crimes and crimes against humanity. Prosecutors alleged his forces contributed to mass killings and the displacement of up to 3 million people during the Darfur conflict. He surrendered to the ICC in the Central African Republic, becoming one of the highest-level Sudanese suspects to stand trial. The conviction marks a significant step in international accountability efforts for atrocities committed in Darfur more than 2 decades ago. Forgotten my beloved country, the Philippines, reporting for Newsline World. This has been Paul Montibon, SMNI News.
The Department of Justice stated that Senator Bato de la Rosa is not considered a fugitive, reiterating that they have not received any information or a copy of the alleged warrant of arrest against the senator. Margaret Gonzalez reports.
The Department of Justice continues to maintain that it has not received or seen any copy of an arrest warrant from the International Criminal Court or ICC against Senator Bato de Rosa. This comes following a social media post by former presidential spokesperson Attorney Harry Roque claiming that an arrest order for the senator has already been issued. According to DOJ spokesperson Attorney Polo Martinez, they still have no information regarding this as of the moment. He said that Senator is not yet an accused or fugitive and they are not monitoring or looking for him because as of now, they have not seen any copy of the ICC warrant. However, should one exist, the DOJ will not keep it a secret from the public. The DOJ assured that before the ICC issues a warrant, it will coordinate with them and with Interpol. A copy of the arrest warrant may be provided to the DOJ, the DFA, or the DILG. Should they eventually receive an arrest warrant for the senator from the ICC, they said they would first study how to carry out its execution. Martinez emphasized that under the law, the country has a duty to cooperate with Interpol, while under RA 9851 or the International Humanitarian Law, the execution of the arrest order could be carried out through extradition or surrender, methods that the government would still need to review. However, in the end, Martinez said it is still premature to discuss the matter as there is no certainty that an arrest warrant against the senator is forthcoming. For God and the beloved Philippines, this has been Margaret Gonzalez, SMNA News.
The Senate has approved the 6.793 trillion pesos 2026 national budget. However, before it can be finalized by the Bicameral Conference Committee, some lawmakers have expressed opposition to the plan to live stream the deliberations. Troy Gomez has the details.
The Senate has approved on third and final reading the 6.793 trillion peso 2026 General Appropriations Bill. In his speech, Senator Win Gatchalian, chairperson of the Senate Committee on Finance, emphasized that among the highlights, the Senate increased the funding for education. It now stands at 1.375 trillion pesos, which is 91.24 billion peso higher than the House version. While funding for schools has grown, a significant cut can be seen in the budget of the Department of Public Works and Highways or DPWH. From the House proposed 624.48 billion pesos, the Senate's version brings it down to 570.48 billion pesos, a clear response to the series of alleged anomalies that surfaced in recent weeks. And Gatchalian made a promise that this will be transparent.
As an added safeguard against ghost projects, all infrastructure projects must now have station numbers and specific coordinates.
But while the safeguards were being highlighted, tensions rose over one issue, the live streaming of the Bicameral Conference Committee. From December 12 to 14, contingents from the Senate and the House of Representatives will meet in the Bicameral Conference Committee to reconcile the differing provisions in their respective versions of the GAB. It was initially announced that the proceedings would be live-streamed, a move said to promote transparency. But according to Senator Erwin Tulfo, not everyone is pleased. Some members of the House of Representatives supportedly want to block the live broadcast.
Ang problema, may mga kumukontra. May mga hindi dito sa amin.
Sa House, sir?
Sa House, ayaw nila. What are we afraid na hindi natin in-live? Kailangan makialam din yung tao. Kasi lalo na ngayon, talagang questionable itong budget.
According to Senate President Tito Soto, the Senate will not back down. He said the live stream cannot be removed because the process should not be hidden.
Gusto namin naka-open, kitang-kita ng publiko, sino-sino naglagay ng ganito, sino-sino yung nagpasok niyan, anong budget para sa mga tatlong pinakamahalaga, DepEd, DOH,
Sir, si President,
Agriculture. Matagal na namin ang pag-usapan ng live stream talaga. Hindi namin na napag-usapan kanina. Ano yun? SOP na yun, talaga naka-live stream.
On December 18, the BICAM committee report is expected to be signed. The following day, it will be ratified by both chambers. Reporting for Newsline World, Troy Gomez, SMNI News.
Russia and China have carried out another round of joint air patrols over Asia-Pacific, an 8-hour mission involving strategic bombers and fighter escorts. This footage released by the Russian Defense Ministry shows a Tu-95MS strategic bomber lifting off and cruising above the clouds before returning to its airfield. Moscow says the aircraft flew alongside China's H-6K strategic bombers in coordinated patrols over the Sea of Japan, the East China Sea, and the Western Pacific. The ministry stressed that in carrying out their assignment, the aircraft of both countries acted strictly in accordance with the provisions of international law and had not violated the airspace of foreign states. It was also reported that Su-30SM, Su-35S, and GN-16 have provided fighter cover along the entire route. The air patrols took place as part of the implementation of the 2025 military cooperation plan between Russia and China. Up next, in Central America, Honduran President Xiomara Castro accuses U.S. President Donald Trump of interfering in Honduras' upcoming elections, claiming voters are being intimidated and that Washington is undermining the country's sovereignty. In Indonesia, at least 22 people are dead after a suspected drone battery explosion ignited a massive blaze inside a 7-story office building in Jakarta. Newsline World will be back after the break.
Isang pindot lang, pwede kang maka-jackpot. Mukhang masaya at easy money lang. Sa murang halaga, pwede ka na tumaya sa online gambling at e-casino apps. Mayroong sabong, slot machines, mahjong, poker at iba pa. Kailangan mo lang ng smartphone, e-wallet at internet. Pero ang aliw na ito, unti-unting nagiging bitag para sa mga Pilipino. Lalo na kung ang paborito mong artista o influencer ang mukha ng app. Mas madaling makaengganyo, diba? Parang safe naman kasi may kilalang mukha. Pero sa likod ng ngiti, sugal pa rin ang itinutulak. At syempre, mas madali ring itago ang pagkalulong sa bisyong ito. Walang pisikal na kasino o pasugalan, walang kaharap, walang accountability, kaya't mas lumalala ang adiksyon. Dagdag pa rito, maraming online gambling apps at walang regulasyon. Sa likod ng mga makukulay na interface at papremyo, nakatago ang problemang bumabalot ngayon sa bansa. Ang pagkalulong ng maraming Pilipino sa online gambling. Pwede maglaro kahit saan, kahit kailan, kahit sino, bata man o matanda, pwedeng malulong. Ayon sa mga eksperto, ang pagkakalulong sa online gambling ay nagdudulot ng matinding stress at anxiety, pagkakabaon sa utang, pagkawasak ng pamilya, pagkawala ng tiwala sa sarili. At tulad ng ibang bisyo, may mga senyales ito tulad ng hindi makapagpigil kahit walang pera, palihim na tumataya, pagpapabaya sa trabaho, pamilya o sarili. Sa bawat taya, may mga taong tunay na kumikita, mga malalaking negosyante at investors na negosyo ang bisyo ng masa. Para sa kanila, perang pumapasok lang ito. Pero para sa ordinaryong Pilipino, kabuhayan at relasyon ang nauubos. At ang masakit, tila matagal itong nahayaan. Hindi ito naging prioridad ng mga nakaupo sa taas hanggang sa sobrang lumala at halos naapektuhan na ang buong komunidad. Ngayon, sa dami ng nalulong at sa laki ng pinsalang naidulot, sa kapalalong umugong ang mga panukalang batas para higpitan ng online gambling, gaya ng pagbabawal sa paggamit ng e-wallets para tumaya, pagtaas ng minimum bet, mas mahigpit na identity verification, pag-block ng mga illegal na gambling sites, at bawasan o ipagbawal ang mga ads na target ang kabataan. Maaari itong magmukhang laro lang, pero sa katotohanan, isa itong sugal sa kinabukasan. Ang kita na dapat sa mga pangunahing pangangailangan o ipon na uubos sa sugal. At sa mundo ng online gambling, mas madali kang matalo kaysa manalo. Huwag hayaang sugal ang magdikta sa iyong buhay. Isang paalala mula sa SMNI.
Hundreds of passengers were left stranded at New Delhi's Indira Gandhi International Airport on Monday after Indigo canceled hundreds of flights amid an ongoing crew shortage crisis. Joy Tabanao reports.
Luggage piled up across terminal floors as stranded passengers waited at counters or sat in designated areas, trying to figure out their next move. Airport screens showed rows of cancellation flights, reflecting a service meltdown that has stretched on for more than a week. The disruption stems from a shortage of pilots after Indigo struggled to implement new flight duty time limitation rules that grant flight crews longer rest hours. The shift cut the number of weekly nighttime landings pilots can undertake, causing widespread scheduling gaps across major airports. Reports say up to 586,000 bookings were canceled between December 1 and 7, leaving thousands stuck without clear rebooking options. Indigo has apologized on X and promised refunds for all canceled or rescheduled flights from December 5 to 15. India's civil aviation regulator has temporarily relaxed the new work hour rules to help the carrier restore operations, while the government arranged additional trains to ease passenger overflow.
The problem is that all the Kannur flight has been full. I don't know if they cancel immediately, at least they can arrange an extra flight, So many people are there struggling like this.
Others say they spent hours in the terminal without food, refunds, or alternative transport options.
आज की टिकट थी और आज सुबह 4 बजे मुझे पता लगा कि आपकी फ्लाइट कैंसिल हो गई। मैं घर से चला था सुबह 3 बजे और रास्ते में पता लगा। यहाँ आया, यहाँ पता किया, बोला कैंसिल हो गए, पैसे रिफंड नहीं मिले अभी तक। वो भी बोला 9 से 10 दिन लगेंगे, कम से कम 10 दिन लगेंगे पैसे रिफंड होने में।
Some families said the repeated cancellations forced them to book their own accommodation as they waited for a confirmed flight. Indigo says it is working to stabilize operations, but for many passengers, the delays have already stretched into days with no clear end in sight. Joy Manao, your citizen correspondent reporting for Newsline World.
Brazil's Lula da Silva has convinced the growing number of femicides in the country, urging stronger protections for women and calling domestic violence one of Brazil's most urgent social emergencies. Almar Fusuelo tells us more.
Brazilian President Lula da Silva addressed delegates at the 14th National Conference on Social Assistance. He said many women still do not report abuse because they fear retaliation. He noted the electronic monitoring orders often fail to protect victims who stay at home alone.
E muitas vezes as mulheres não fazem a denúncia porque elas têm medo. Tem medo de que a vingança seja maior. Ah, vai colocar tornozeleira, o cara não pode se aproximar de casa. Mas quem está dentro de casa sozinha é a mulher. E o safado aparece. E quando ele aparece, aparece mais nervoso.
Lula said he was deeply alarmed by the rise in cases of violence against women. He stressed that the state must act decisively to prevent femicides and safeguard victims. He vowed to make the fight against gender-based violence and personal mission during his administration.
Vou fazer dessa luta a minha luta. Não vou deixar de cuidar do que eu tenho que fazer, porque eu fui eleito para governar este país. Fui eleito para governar e vou governar.
Lula also emphasized that conviction, not age, fuels his commitment to women's safety and social justice. Brazil continues to record some of the highest femicide rates in the region, prompting renewed pressure on the government to strengthen reporting channels, expand protective services, and ensure that abuse survivors are not left unprotected in their own homes. Reporting for Newsline World, Almar Fusuelo, SMNI News.
Honduran President Xiomara Castro is denouncing what she calls direct foreign interference in the country's November 30 elections, accusing U.S. President Donald Trump of threatening voters and undermining Honduran. This report.
Honduran President Xiomara Castro has condemned the alleged interference of U.S. President Donald Trump in the recent elections held on November 30. Castro asserted that such actions pose a threat to the nation's sovereignty and democracy. Speaking at the inauguration of the judiciary in Olancho, Castro said the election process was tainted by foreign interference. She directly accused Trump of meddling and attempting to influence the outcome of the vote.
Desde aquí, de esta Casa de la Justicia, condeno la injerencia del presidente de Estados Unidos, Donald Trump, cuando amenazó al pueblo hondureño que si le daban el voto a una valiente y patriota candidata del Partido Libre, Rixi Moncada, iban a tener consecuencias. Esas declaraciones violó el principio más sagrado de nuestra Constitución. La soberanía reside en el pueblo, exclusivamente en el pueblo hondureño.
Castro claims Honduran voters were subjected to coercion, intimidation, and manipulation of the TREP, or Preliminary Electoral Results Transmission System, actions that she described as a direct attack on the will of the people.
El pueblo en estas elecciones ha sido sometido a coacción, chantaje, extorsión, trampas, fraudes, manipulación del TREP. Estas amenazas constituyen un ataque directo a la voluntad popular.
Days before the election, Trump publicly expressed support for National Party candidate Nasri Asfura and urged Hondurans to vote for him. He also criticized Libre Party candidate Rixi Moncada, accusing her of being close to communism, and claimed that Liberal Party candidate Salvador Nasralla was attempting to divide the opposition vote. Castro said that from the House of Justice, she condemns Trump's alleged threats against voters who intended to support Moncada. Amid heightened election tensions, Trump granted a presidential pardon to former Honduran President Juan Orlando Hernandez, who had been sentenced in the United States for 45 years in prison for drug trafficking.
El expresidente del régimen anterior fue condenado a 45 años por organizar un cartel de narcotráfico y por intereses políticos. Un día antes de las elecciones fue favorecido con el indulto presidencial. Podrán perdonarle la pena, pero sus delitos y crímenes al pueblo, eso no se olvida.
Castro said she will file a complaint before various international organizations, including the UN, EU, CELA, and OAS, over what she described as an attempted electoral coup.
Meanwhile, a suspected drone battery explosion triggered a blaze in Jakarta, killing people and trapping workers inside a 7-story office building. Investigators are piecing together how the blaze spread so fast. The aftermath is devastating. A burned-out tower in central Jakarta, rescue teams rushing stretchers past twisted metal and remnants of drone equipment scattered on the ground. Fire crews and ambulances filled the streets as smoke poured from the building. Jakarta disaster officials confirmed the death toll at 22, including 15 women and 7 men. Agency head Bayo Meghantara says the blaze is now out. Investigators are coordinating with police to determine the exact cause. Witnesses say workers on the higher floors were trapped almost immediately. Local resident Rishamtomo Sugati described chaos as the fire erupted. Emergency teams evacuated survivors from the rooftop after flames climbed through stairwells, office partitions, and wiring systems. Authorities believe it was fueled by lithium batteries used for drones. Officials say the building likely housed an Indonesian unit of Japan's TerraDrone Corporation, which provides mapping and agricultural drone services across the region. Up next, the 33rd Southeast Asian Games open in Thailand under tight security, following fresh border clashes as athletes compete under heightened safety measures across key venues. Newsline World will return.
Madalas ka bang napapasobra sa pag-scroll sa phone mo kahit puro masasamang balita ang nakikita mo? Isipin mo ito. Nakahiga ka na sa kama, nagche-check lang ng phone bago matulog. Tapos, hindi mo na malayan, ilang oras ka na palang nagbabasa at nanonood ng mga balita tungkol sa digmaan, sakuna, politika, at lahat ng masasamang nangyayari sa mundo. Nakakaramdam ka na ng kaba at pagod. Pero tuloy mo pa rin ang scroll mo. Ang tawag dyan ay doom scrolling. Ito ang habit ng paulit-ulit na pagtingin sa mga negatibo o nakaka-depress na content tulad ng digmaan, krimen o problema sa mundo. nakaka-stress, pero hindi mo pa rin mapigilan. Ayon sa isang pag-aaral ng Texas Tech University, ang sobrang konsumo ng masasamang balita ay nauugnay sa pagtaas ng stress, anxiety at pisikal na sintomas gaya ng pagkapagod at sakit ng ulo. Ayon naman sa Harvard Health, ang doom scrolling ay nagpapataas ng fight or flight hormones tulad ng cortisol at adrenaline na nakakapagpabigat ng isip at katawan. Nakakaapekto ito sa iyong mood, tulog at maging sa mental at physical health mo. At kapag naman puro memes at random na content ang pinapanood mo ng sunod-sunod hanggang sa mawalan ka na ng gana na mag-isip at gumawa ng iba pang gawain, ang tawag naman diyan ay brain rot. Sa Gen Z at tinatawag na internet culture, ang brain rot ay overconsumption o sobrang tagal na panonood ng paulit-ulit, mababaw, magulo o walang saysay na content online hanggang sa parang manhid na ang utak mo. Kapag nasobrahan, syempre, nakakasama. Nawawalan ka na ng focus, nawawala ang motivation, hirap mag-isip ng malalim, parang lutang o foggy ang utak. Masaya sa simula, pero kapag sobra, napapagod ang isip mo. Nahihirapang mag-concentrate at parang lutang. Mas delikado pa ito sa mga bata dahil ang utak nila ay nasa proseso pa ng pag-develop. Kaya mas malakas ang epekto ng doom scrolling at brain rot sa kanila. Maaaring makaapekto sa pag-aaral, pag-iisip at pakikitungo sa iba. Ang higit sa 4 na oras ng screen time araw-araw sa mga kabataan ay konektado sa 35 to 88% na mas mataas na posibilidad ng depresyon, anxiety at stress. Base ito sa isang malawakang pag-aaral sa Brazil. Kaya, maging balanse. Magpahinga sa screen. Magbasa. Makipagkwentuhan. Magdasal. Maging present lagi. Alagaan ang iyong isipan. Kung anong itinatanim sa isipan mo, yun ang lalago.
The Southeast Asian Games officially open in Bangkok with tightened security as athletes compete under increased safety measures following fresh border clashes between Thailand and Cambodia, while Philippine women's football is on full display as the Filipinas Rising Stars make their mark in the 33rd Southeast Asian Games in Charaburi. More of this from Carlo de la Peña.
The games will run until December 20, being staged in Bangkok and the coastal province of Chonburi, with thousands of athletes from 11 Southeast Asian countries competing in sports such as football, fencing, skateboarding, sailing, and combat events under heightened security. World-class athletes are part of this edition, including Olympic weightlifting gold medalist Heidelin Diaz of the Philippines, Indonesia's Rizky Yuniansha, and Thailand's badminton silver medalist Kunlawut Wiritsan. The official opening ceremony is set to be led by the Thai King and Queen at the Rajamangala National Stadium on Tuesday night, featuring a special performance by South Korea-trained Thai artist Bam Bam. Away from the venues, renewed fighting linked to a long-standing border dispute between Thailand and Cambodia has resulted in the deaths of 6 Cambodian civilians and 3 Thai soldiers, with more than 20 others wounded. Due to safety concerns, Cambodia withdrew around half of its athletes last month, pulling out 8 events, including football, wrestling, judo, and karate. Thailand's Deputy Prime Minister Tamanat Prompo assured that the country will enforce the highest level of security to ensure the safety of Cambodian athletes throughout the Games. Additional security personnel will be deployed, though operational details were not disclosed. Thailand is hosting the Biennial SEA Games for the first time since 2007. The event was first held in Bangkok in 1959. The regional games are also known for featuring traditional, non-Olympic sports such as sepak takraw and pencak silat. Meanwhile, the Philippine women's football team is making a strong impression at the 33rd Southeast Asian Games in Chonburi. Mali Ramirez, 21, leads the team as top scorer, netting in their 2-1 loss to Myanmar and scoring the winning goal in a 1-0 victory over defending champions Vietnam to keep semi-final hopes alive. Jael Marigay and Alexa Pino, both 18, earned starting roles and performed well, while Isabela Pasion, 19, impressed with her strong defensive play. Coach Mark Torcaso praised the young core, noting the squad's mix of 18 to 23-year-olds and highlighting their potential for the future. He described Pasion as an absolute rock and emphasized that the team will be very tough to beat moving forward in the competition. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Carlo de la Peña bringing you the latest sports news.
Miss Charm Philippines Sairi Payomo is making waves with her national costume, which pays tribute to the iconic salakot, celebrating Filipino heritage and craftsmanship on the international pageant stage. Meanwhile, Taiwanese actor and singer Ken Chu has broken his silence after being left out on the highly anticipated F4 reunion concert tour. Blake Ann will give us the details.
Miss Charm Philippines Sairi Payomo is turning heads with her national costume, which pays homage to the iconic salakot, a traditional Filipino hat symbolizing heritage and culture. The elaborate ensemble features intricate details and craftsmanship, highlighting Filipino artistry and the rich history behind the salakot, long recognized as a symbol of resilience and identity in the Philippines. Designed by local artisans, the costume combines modern aesthetics with traditional elements, creating a striking look for the international stage. Fans and pageant enthusiasts have praised the ensemble for its creativity and cultural significance. As Miss Charm Philippines Sairi Payomo prepares for the global competition, her salakot-inspired national costume stands as a proud tribute to Filipino culture, blending tradition with contemporary pageantry flair. Meanwhile, Taiwanese actor and singer Ken Chu has finally broken his silence after being left out of the much-anticipated F4 reunion concert tour, opening up about the controversy that has captured fans' attention. F4, also known as Flower 4, shot to pan-Asian fame in the early 2000s following the massive success of the Taiwanese drama Meteor Garden. That's why many fans were surprised when Ken Chu, one of the original members, was not included in the tour lineup. Chu denied claims that he was kicked out of the project for talking about the concert online ahead of the official announcement. He explained that he and the concert organizer, recording company BN Music, have no existing contract with the former Taiwanese boy group that would prevent him from doing certain things. Chu also said the company cut ties with him after he disagreed with 3 demands, which he did not disclose, and clarified that F4 is not bound by any contract and has no existing rules in performances. He further announced that he will not be performing with the boy group, but stressed that he respects each member's individuality and their decisions regarding the concert. The announcement sparked discussions online, with fans sharing mixed emotions, some disappointed, while others praised Ken Chu's graceful response. And that's all for now. I'm Blake Ann, bringing you the latest showbiz.
In China, a rocky, low-yield farmland has been transformed into the country's largest single solar power installation in the province, turning barren land into electricity, jobs, and steady source of income for local residents. More of this from Joy Tabanao.
In Guanglei Town, Guizhou Province, what was once rocky, low-yield farmland has been transformed into a sprawling photovoltaic project, the first of its kind in the province and the largest single solar power installation in China. Local villager Miss Li explains how the project has reshaped the community.
好处的话，第一点就最直观的是，它给我们带来了一笔额外的租金收入嘛。因为我们关岭这个地形地嘛，它就是山多，石头也特别的多，然后它用来种植庄稼的话，那收成是比较微薄的。现在把它租出去来搭建这个光伏板，然后给我们带来一笔额外的租金收入。第二点的话，就是它给我们带来一些家门口的工作岗位。 就是它光伏板在它的搭建过程当中，以及现在的后续一个维 复过程当中，它是需要一些人力的，然后给我们带来了一些就业岗位，就比如它需要雇人来清扫这个光伏板，需要人来巡查这个路线等等。
Another villager, Miss He, describes the scale and convenience of the project. She said that before, Guizhou is known for its steep mountains and rocky soil, which are unsuitable for traditional farming, but ideal for capturing the strong sunlight.
这光伏板嘛，就在高速旁的一大片吧，咱沙营啊、乌岗啊，好几个镇都安装了。听说横跨了4个乡镇的。听我爸爸说，这是咱们省最大的光伏基地。然后这贵州这边海拔又高嘛，然后日照又特别充足，就特别利于光伏板的建设。
Miss He adds how the project has changed daily life for local families, creating new jobs for locals. From cleaning and inspecting panels to performing maintenance, positions that did not exist in the area before.
帮助就很多了。我们家的那些荒地都租出去了，每年都能拿到稳稳几千块钱的租金了。然后呢，你看交通这些有特别的方便。对于用电这方面的话，以前我们都是用柴火呀、煤火来取暖的，现在呢都是用电暖炉，又干净又安全。
What was once unused, barren farmland in Guizhou is now generating electricity and income, providing local residents with jobs, steady revenue, and access to clean energy, showing how large-scale solar projects can transform both land and livelihoods. Joy Tabanao, your citizen correspondent reporting for Newsline World.
The Marcos Jr. administers priority measures in Congress.
Engaging. The Marcos Jr. administration has identified 4 priority measures that it wants Congress to act on immediately. In a press briefing in Malacanang, Palace Officer Undersecretary Claire Castro explained the administration's rationale behind the urgency of these bills.
Para sa mas bukas at maayos na pamamahala, ipinag-utos ni Pangulong Ferdinand Reform Act. Kasama rin dito ang Independent People's Commission Act at ang Independent People's Commission Act at ang Citizen Development Advisory Council Dynasty Bill. The term dynasty must be clearly defined. Illegal if it is what the people want. Back then, Marcos Jr. said about performance. And if people are worried about dynasties, then take everybody to an election. Undersecretary Claire Castro explained what led to the president's shift in position on political dynasty. Nagbabago ang political landscape. Maraming umaabuso. At tama naman ang Pangulo, ang kapangyarihan ng pagboto ay nasa kamay ng taong bayan. Pero dahil dito may mga naaabuso, nais ng Pangulo na ipabatid sa taong bayan na kayo ay may choice. Choice na naaayon sa merito, hindi lamang dahil pare-pareho ng apelido.
Meanwhile, the president also threw his support behind the Independent People's Commission Act, which he described as a powerful body that will investigate illegal infrastructure projects nationwide. However, he called for clear, safe, and an act aimed at strengthening transparency and accountability in government spending. LEDAC members, on the other hand, discussed the timeline for passing the General Appropriations Bill and the transmittal of enrolled bills for the president's signature. Reporting for Newsline World, for God and my beloved country, the Philippines, this has been Hannah Jane Sancho, SM9 News.
Australia is rewriting the global rulebook on online safety by becoming the first country in the world to ban children under 16 from using major social media platforms, a sweeping move aimed at protecting young users from harmful content and predatory algorithms. Valdi Vinagracia will give us more details.
A nationwide ban in Australia was implemented on Wednesday. Children under 16 can no longer legally access 10 of the world's biggest platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, and Reddit. The new law, which took effect at midnight, threatens fines of up to $33 million for platforms that fail to remove Australian-based users under the age limit. The Australian government says the ban is necessary to shield children from online bullying, explicit content, and what it calls predatory discriminatory algorithms. But tech giants, including Meta and YouTube, have condemned the law, warning it could push young people into unregulated corners of the internet. Australia concedes the rollout won't be perfect and acknowledge that tech-savvy teens will find ways around the ban. Tech companies are now responsible for verifying users' ages, with some considering AI-based age estimation and ID uploads. The backlash has been fierce. Despite that, other governments are watching closely. Malaysia has signaled it will push a similar ban next year, while officials in Europe, including France, Denmark, Greece, Romania, and the European Commission have expressed interest in setting minimum age limits of their own. Reporting for Newsline World, this is Val Divina Gracia, SMNI News.
A simple VR headset is offering displaced Gazan children a rare chance to smile again, providing a peaceful escape from conflict and a glimpse of a world beyond the aftermath of war. Jean Domingo has a story.
Inside a refugee tent in central Gaza, displaced children are finding brief but meaningful relief through an innovative virtual reality program. A team from the TechMed Gaza Foundation has created a small haven of play and exploration using VR headsets to transport the children into bright, peaceful environments far from the devastation surrounding them. Volunteers guided young participants into a special prepared tent, helping them wear the devices and accompanying them through immersive scenes filled with nature, animals, and color. Health worker, the initiative was inspired by a war victim, an engineer and a game developer whose own son showed significant emotional improvement after using VR technology. The success motivated the foundation to extend the experience to other children in need. Children remain among the most affected by the prolonged conflict. A UN humanitarian report earlier highlighted that 9 out of 10 children in Gaza show signs of aggression tied to years of instability and the breakdown of essential services. But for now, even a few minutes inside a virtual world is giving Gaza's children something they've long been deprived of, a chance to breathe, to imagine, and to hope. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Jean Domingo, SMNI News.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the words of the song. Do not let your mind rule you. You have to rule your mind. And as we keep track of the countdown, there's only 15 days left before Christmas. And that's all for this edition of Newsline World. For God in my beloved country, the Philippines, I'm Prince Tripoli. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.